Hello everyone! In this section, I will discuss to you the basic concepts of returns to scale and economies of scale. Economies of scale and returns to scale are concepts related to each other, even though there are terms that cannot be used interchangeably. So first, returns to scale refers to changes in the levels of output as inputs change, and economies of scales refers to changes in the cost per units as the units are increased. But before we will jump to economies and returns to scale, let us first differentiate the short-run and long-run process or term of a business. So in the short run, at least one input or resource in the production process is fixed, while in the long run, all the resources are variable. So let's start by looking at what will happen to outputs as the company adds more and more resources. So, when the firm increases the various factors of production in a fixed portion, the output increases in three ways. The output could be more than double, it could double, or it could less than double. So, that's the idea of returns to scale. If the firm's output is more than double, it will experience increasing returns to scale. This happens because of advanced or mass production techniques used in the company. And if the company gets constant double of output, then the company experiences constant returns to scale. Lastly, when the company doubled their inputs and get less than double the output, then the company experiences the diminishing or decreasing returns to scale. So, that's the concepts of returns to scale that comes from a long-run process. Upon knowing the concept of return to scale, what do you think will happen to the cost? Now, think of these two companies. Other company has producing drink like this, and the other one is producing like this. Which do you think then that has higher cost? Obviously, this one. That's millions of dollars of equipment they're using to produce a drink. So, the total cost of producing are way higher. But what about the average cost of producing drink? It's way lower. So, these are the ideas of economies of scale. The long-run average costs fall as more outputs is produced. Remember that the economies of scale is the idea of getting bigger is cheaper. Moving now to get the idea of these economies of scale, let's go back a little bit to economies of scale in which the long-run average costs fall as more output is produced. And in production, they often level up, and that's the constant return to scale. And eventually, it's possible for the average cost to start going up as more outputs are produced. That is the idea of these economies of scale.